A former high-ranking Caldwell police officer was in federal court again today. Joey Hoadley is accused of violating a man's civil rights. A federal grand jury indicted Hoadley on 4 felony charges earlier this year: deprivation of rights under the color of law, falsification of records in a federal investigation, tampering with a witness by harassment, and tampering with documents. The former lieutenant's fate lies in the hands of 14 jurors chosen yesterday after he pleaded not guilty to all 4 of those counts this summer. Investigative reporter Morgan Romero was in court today again and breaks down day 2 of the trial.
Today in federal court, we heard from people who were there when Hoadley allegedly used that excessive force, including the man that he's accused of hitting, as well as the officer who was with him and says that he witnessed it. Hoadley's initial 2 federal charges stem from an incident in 2017 in which Hoadley allegedly hit a man referred to as BH in the head while that man was handcuffed. The federal government accuses him of then falsifying a report about it. Hoadley's defense attorney, Chuck Peterson, argues BH tensed up and any force Hoadley used was reasonable to keep him from resisting or escaping. Starting at 9 o'clock this morning, the U.S. Attorney's Office called 6 witnesses, including a use of force expert, 2 former officers, and 1 current high-ranking Caldwell lieutenant. As I mentioned, they also called in the alleged victim at the center of his initial federal charges. BH says Hoadley hit him with his forearm in the chin. They also showed an officer's body camera video of the events leading up to and after the 2017 altercation. The altercation itself, however, was not captured on video. However, you can hear BH yelling, quote, "You punched me in the face," and Hoadley yelling, "I didn't punch you in the face, stop trying to escape." The government then called Officer Eddie Ibarra, that officer I mentioned earlier who was there when Hoadley allegedly hit BH. Ibarra testified on the stand that he saw out of the corner of his eye Hoadley hit the man and the man fall to the ground at Ibarra's feet. The government also introduced more evidence to back its claim that Hoadley had a pattern of willfully using excessive force. That's really what they're trying to prove in court. A former officer, Josh Gregory, gave emotional testimony this morning, having to pause to collect himself multiple times. He said he loved being a police officer, but he left the department because of misconduct. Gregory said he talked to his captain about issues, but nothing happened. So he went to the FBI with Joseph Hoadley, the other officer we told you about yesterday, who gave a tear-felt testimony. They filed a complaint against Hoadley and other CPD officers in late 2020 after Hoadley showed Caldwell video of him punching a man who was handcuffed in 2016. This is a separate incident from the BH incident. This spurred the FBI investigation. The defense asked why it took Gregory so long to report this. He said he decided he didn't want to be at Caldwell anymore, and this was his last effort to, quote, right the ship. Through other expert witnesses, the government also showed how Hoadley was trained to use force in an appropriate way. A current lieutenant went over Caldwell PD force policies and when force is justified. Caldwell policy says, and I want to read this to you, the degree of force used depends on what the officer perceives as reasonable and necessary under the circumstances, like in order to detain someone, keep someone from escaping, or to defend themselves in this situation. We'll be back out here at federal court at 8:30 on Wednesday morning. Trial is getting a little bit earlier every day. However, they did say in court today, both attorneys as well as the judge, that we can expect more witnesses, 4 more witnesses to be called tomorrow from the prosecution. The defense can also call people forward. Then they'll give closing statements after cross-examination, and then potentially the jury could be deliberating by Friday, so we will be out here for the rest of the week. Obviously, I just debriefed a really long trial today in just a few minutes, but you can go to our website, KTVB.com, for a lot more details and information and background. And you can also stay posted on social media and on air tomorrow during the trial. Back to you.